it's Becky. Welcome back to my channel. If you are already subscribed to me, if you're new here, hey, I'm glad you stopped by today. I hope you liked today's video and you'll consider subscribing and becoming part of my YouTube channel family. Anyway, today, if you noticed by the thumbnail, it's going to be answering your guys' questions that you asked me on Instagram and a couple on my YouTube community tab. I did a call for questions. I haven't done a Q&A type video for quite a while. But I got, I think, 28 or 29 questions, a kind of a mixed bag of things about homeschooling and family life and favorites. So I've got them all here on this paper. I've got them organized by type of question. There's a few miscellaneous. Most things are about homeschooling, favorites, and kind of family personal life. So I'm just going to start on number one and work my way down and hope this video is not too long. I'm going to start with the homeschooling questions. First, the first question is, how do your girls like homeschooling? My daughter is starting 3rd grade next year. They both love homeschooling, and there was a time a few years ago when my oldest said she wanted to be public schooled, and so then because my youngest wanted to be just like my oldest, she said she wanted to be public schooled even though she never had been and really had no clue what it even is all about. That was kind of a rough patch with my oldest. She was about 13 or so, 12 or 13 I think, and that's about the time we were having kind of a rough patch with just her in general. So I think it kind of trickled into her homeschooling education life. She just was determined that public school was going to be so much better than homeschooling. But I kept reminding her that when she thinks about public school, you know, we pulled her out of public school in the middle of 4th grade. You know, most of the time, not a whole lot of tragic things have happened by that point. There's a lot of fun stuff, and there's fun stuff in older grades too. But I think when she was thinking about going back to public school, I really think in her mind, she was thinking about 4th grade. Not middle school, which was where she would be going back to if she were to stop homeschooling and go back to public school. Now she loves it because we have made really a conscious effort to make sure the girls have activities, they have friends, they have social things to do, they're in lessons, they are really active in church, and I feel like for her, the main thing was the social aspect, and we worked really hard to make sure we keep them active and involved, and I think that really helps. And I think now she really appreciates, especially that she's gotten older, the opportunities that she has that she can't do or she couldn't do if she was in public school. You know, being able to kind of set your own schedule, sleep in a little bit, do school with your bird in your room, in your pajamas, you know, all of these things, go out in the middle of the day for lunch and to run errands, or maybe skip school a day and go skating with somebody else, you know, that's homeschooled and do your school later that night. You know, those type of things that you really don't get to do when you're public schooled. I think she has learned over time that those are amazing benefits, and she really loves homeschooling, and my youngest does as well. So I'm not to say that they wouldn't enjoy certain parts of public school if they were to be in school. I'm sure they would, and I'm sure they would thrive and everything, just, you know, fine. But I think they do realize and appreciate the benefits of homeschooling, and they definitely like those perks that come along with it. Second question is, can you show lots more on your tips and items in your homeschool room? I actually just did an updated homeschool room tour and organization video that I think went up a week or so ago, so I'll link that for you in the description box. But basically it's our entire homeschool room, every cabinet and drawer in the homeschool area I share with you guys, and along the way I also share with you kind of my tips for organizing a homeschool room, so definitely check that video out if you have not seen it already. Number 3, why did you start homeschooling? I'm going to try to keep this video short by not going into too much detail with things I've already answered in previous videos. I did do actually 2 or 3 why we homeschool videos. So if you haven't seen those yet, I'll link those for you below in the description box as well, because they're going to go into a lot more detail. But short story, if I'm ever able to tell a short story, like I said before, my oldest was in 4th grade when we decided to pull her out. We were going to pull her out for 5th grade and start homeschooling, but things were just getting crazy at her school with what they were being taught and the safety that was not being taken seriously, and we just decided to go ahead and pull her out in the middle of 4th grade. That is why, in a nutshell. If you want to hear kind of the long story, then definitely check out the videos I have for you in the description box. And then the last question is, did you work before homeschooling your girls? I went to college. I got an associate's degree because I really didn't want to be anything necessarily. I really had no like future vision of what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I just wanted to be a mom. And not to say that you can't be a mom and have a career, you can, but I really just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I got an associate's degree in office management, and then I was still working retail at that point. Still working retail very early on in our marriage, like very early on, because we had our oldest daughter not long after we got married. So I went on, I was working seasonally while I was pregnant with her, which was 2003. And then I was seasonal. So once Christmas was over, I was off work because I was just for the Christmas season. She was born in February and I didn't go back to work after that. That is not ever anything I ever thought would happen. I never thought I'd be able to be a stay-at-home mom. And that's been an incredible blessing that I didn't even know to ask for. Now, as far as working goes, no, I did not ever go outside the house to work. I did start my YouTube channel around 2013. And for 3 years, it wasn't a job. I didn't make money from it for 3 years, so it was just a hobby, but it has turned into a job. So yes, I was working on my YouTube channel, but I did that for 3 years for free. I don't know what you want to call that. It's not really a job. It is a job now, and I still love it, but it is something that actually brings in income. But I never had a job where I had to like go out of the house and do anything. Okay, the next category is kind of favorites type of questions. Favorite Instagram accounts to follow. I follow a lot of people, and if you look at my Instagram profile, you can see who I follow, but my favorite ones that I get the most excited to see whenever they have a post or an Instagram story is Grace and Grit, which is Ashley. She's a fellow homeschooler. Love her channel, love her Instagram. Ash Lancaster 85, her name is Ashley. She is a homeschooler as well. She used to have YouTube videos. She quit for a while. I think she's back on YouTube now, which I'm super excited about, so I love watching her stories and her videos. I just love the way she talks. I could listen to her talk all day about like Cheese Whiz. Whatever it is, I love the way she talks. And then Leah Tackles is another one that's really, really great and inspirational to follow. She has a YouTube channel as well. But I really like her Instagram because she's very, very active on Instagram. Like every single day, she does 3 things that she's grateful for every day. And I feel like it's just a really positive Instagram account to follow. She's a mompreneur, so she's got several businesses that she runs from home. Her husband has a screen printing business, and I love watching her videos on her. I love watching her Instagram stories because she's just so inspirational. So definitely those are my 3 favorite Instagram accounts to follow. Favorite ride and restaurant at Disney World. Do I have to pick one? If I have to pick one, I don't want to pick this one. Okay, I want to say Chef Mickey's because I love the food. Even though it's a buffet. Even though you can get most of that stuff at any of the Disney resorts or anywhere else. For some reason, it tastes better at Chef Mickey's. I don't know why, but it does. But on the other hand, I don't like it because it's a character meal. Like if you have kids that love characters and want to see them, then you would love it. I don't like characters in particular, and I don't like eating at character meals because every time you sit down to eat, here comes somebody else and you have to jump up and take a picture and whatever. So I wish that they had a section in Chef Mickey's that was for people that don't want to see the characters and then a section for people that do, because I would gladly sit in the non-character section. But they don't, so I put up with the characters just because I really like the food, I like the atmosphere. So we always go to Chef Mickey's one time every trip. For breakfast, not for lunch or dinner. But anyway, so that's kind of a one-time deal. But as far as like going somewhere repeatedly in the same trip, I would probably pick Rainforest Cafe. There's one at Animal Kingdom, there's one at Disney Springs. They're both really good. I love the theming. I've gone there ever since I was a kid, and it's just really a fun place to eat. So I really like Rainforest Cafe. Favorite ride? Okay, I'm gonna tell you 2 because I don't wanna be cliche and say Flight of Passage because that's everybody's favorite ride. I mean, maybe the people that have ridden Rise of the Resistance, I haven't ridden that yet, so I can't say. But as far as the things that have been opened before Galaxy's Edge opened, because that was the last time I was there, was May of 2000, what year is it? 2019, May of 2019 was the last time I was at Disney World. So Galaxy's Edge wasn't even open the last time I was there. But we did get to ride all the new Toy Story rides and stuff, Toy Story Land. But Flight of Passage is my favorite. I think it's pretty much everybody's favorite. It's an amazing ride. It is an experience, not just a ride. But other than that one, if you want me to pick like a regular ride that I just love getting on, that's just comfortable and relaxing and a must do for me, and you're gonna make fun of me, it is Living with the Land. It's a boat ride in Epcot in the Land Pavilion right next to Soarin'. It is a boat ride that goes through food. Like, I don't know why I like that so much. I just think it's really relaxing. I like the guy's voice that narrates the ride. I like seeing the different types of food being grown and how they grow it. And I think it's really interesting. And as a kid, my dad loved that ride. And I was like, this is so boring. But now that I'm an adult, of course I have changed it a little bit, but still, now that I'm an adult, I just love it. It's so relaxing. And if you have not ridden it, you need to give it a shot because it's a great ride. Favorite TV shows and movies. Okay, this is easy because my favorite movies of all time, ever, Twilight and Hunger Games. Yes, both of my favorite movies are kind of like young people, teenager type demographic, like audience intention, I don't know. But I love them. They're my favorite movies. I cannot pick which one I like the best. I can't. I mean, if you ask me one day, I may be able to say one or the other, but then the next day I might say the other one. I just can't decide. I love them both. I love coming of age series, like things that show somebody from like the beginning of their journey to the end, you know, and same thing that happens in Twilight, it happens in Hunger Games. I just love it. I love both of them so much. I am watching Hunger Games, I think this is the third time through that we're watching it since this year, like alone, because it just, I know it's depressing supposedly and it's like a horrible time and all this horrible stuff's happening, but it's just comfortable for me. I love it. It is so good. If you have not seen Hunger Games, you need to watch it. And then also Twilight. I mean, even if you're not into vampire things, then there's some questionable acting in this movie, I will say. I'm not gonna say who it is, but one of the main actors is pretty awful. Like it's cringeworthy at some points to watch. But still, even in spite of that person's terrible acting, I think it's a great series of movies and I love the story, I love the characters, and I just think both of those are really great. As far as TV shows, I don't watch a lot of TV shows because I'm mostly either I'm gonna watch a YouTube video, and if I get time, I'll watch a movie. So I don't have a whole lot of favorite TV shows. I do like Andy Griffith, the Andy Griffith Show. It's a classic. Anytime I want to be like comfortable and relaxed, Andy Griffith is a really good one. The I Love Lucy show is a really good one. I did enjoy Stranger Things, which is a funny combination, Andy Griffith or Stranger Things. I did really like Stranger Things, but we canceled our Netflix subscription, so unless they bring it out on some other format, I'm not going to be able to see any more of those. But I did watch all of the seasons of those. They're really good. I will miss it whenever they release the new season. If I don't get to watch it, I will, you know, miss it. But I mean, it's okay. I'm fine. And then you're also going to make fun of me about this, but Austin and Ally is a really good Disney show that's like a teenager show. I know it's for kids and like early preteens and all that. But again, it is so happy and comfortable. I think it helps me too that they're supposed to live in Miami, which Florida makes me think of Disney World. So like every time I watch Austin and Ally, it just makes me happy. The characters are really good. Don't knock this show unless you have seen it, because it is an amazing show. And as far as like kids shows go, it's not annoying. The characters are so funny. Kayla Worthy, which plays Des, is hilarious. It's just such a great show, and we are actually working our third way through of watching the whole series again this year, because it just makes me happy. It's a good little show to watch during lunchtime. Definitely check into Austin and Ally if you haven't seen it. It's on Disney Plus. It's a great show. What genre of books are your favorite for personal reading? I'm so sorry to tell you this. I don't read unless I have to. I read things for school, like homeschooling, and I read, you know, whatever I need to do for that, a curriculum and whatever, college prep, that type of stuff. My devotional, I read that. But as far as like sitting down and reading a chapter book, which makes me sound like I'm in third grade, a chapter book, I don't like to read. I don't read for pleasure. I read out of necessity. I love books. I love buying books. I like having books, but I don't like actually reading them, which makes no sense. But I really can't answer your question because I don't read for fun. And then the last question in this category is, what is one guilty pleasure you enjoy too much to give up? You guys should know this. If you have watched my channel at all, you know where normally I go every single day for lunch, that I have gone pretty much every single day for lunch 5 to 6 days a week for the last 10 years, is Panera. I get the same thing every single time. Don't think I'm going there and getting something different every time. No, I get the kids' turkey and cheese on white bread with chips and a sweet tea every single day for the last 10 years until this quarantine stuff happened. So that is a guilty pleasure for me. It is not cheap to go to Panera every day, even though I do get out the kids' meal and it's cheaper than like getting a salad or something. Still, it's not cheap to go there every day. And I know that's probably not normal to go to the same place every day and eat the same thing every day, but that's what I like to do, and so that is my guilty pleasure. And Leap and Lemurs is my breakfast of choice. It's what I eat every single day here at home. I don't like oatmeal for breakfast. I don't like eggs and bacon. I don't really want pancakes. I mean, I'll eat them every now and again, but hardly ever. Really only ever on vacation do I have pancakes for breakfast, or waffles. But every single morning, probably again for the last 8 years, I have the Nature's Path Leap and Lemurs cereal. It's organic, gluten-free, and it's like peanut butter puffs and chocolate puff cereal. It's really good. I should probably just grow up and have an adult person breakfast, but I really love it. I like to get up in the morning and crunch for some reason. And for me, sometimes it's like my motivation to get out of bed. I'm like, I'm hungry and I want Leap and Lemurs, so I've got to get out of bed to get them. So those are two of my guilty pleasures. Okay, family life and personal life category. Do you have a lot of close friends that you hang out with, or is it mostly with family? No, I have no personal friends. I have some people that I will talk to, you know, through text sometimes or Facebook Messenger, but as far as like hanging out with people, I do not really ever go out with anybody. There's two reasons for that. One is mostly because if I get free time, I'm very unlikely to spend it with somebody who's not family or on myself, like alone time, because I don't really ever get alone time. So going out with a friend would kind of be like third on the list of priorities, because my family and my girls are my top priority. And then myself, if I had some free time, you know, I would like to just sometimes go out and be alone and be by myself, not have to talk or listen to anybody or anything. So third on the list would be friends. And also just because I don't know, maybe it's just me and this is going to be really embarrassing to tell. I think it's really hard to find good friends. It's really hard to find people that understand me. It's really hard to find people who appreciate my sense of humor. And it's really, I don't know, I just have never had much luck in the friend department. I'm not saying that to people for people to feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for myself. I am perfectly content the way that I am. I've grown over the years and realized that I don't have a problem with me, but if other people do, that's for them to deal with. I don't really care anymore. I don't mean that to sound like callous. I mean, this is true. It's kind of what happens as you grow up and you realize that friends are great and all, but if you don't find those people that are worth hanging out with, then just be happy being by yourself and with your family and you know, people that you want to be with. How did you and your husband meet, and how long have you been married? Short story is we've been married almost 17 years. I do have a story time video. It's kind of awkward because our story is not very romantic. Do you have any siblings? And if so, how's your relationship with them? Yes, I have one older brother. He's 4 years older than me. And I would say that we're close as far as we would do anything for each other, but it's just kind of like we don't see each other that often. He's really busy, we're really busy, and unfortunately we don't get to see each other often enough. I was trying to make a conscious effort to get together with them more often right before the quarantine hit. Like, we had them over for just dinner and kind of hanging out, which was really, really fun. And I was excited to try to do that maybe at least once a month. But then that was right around the time that the quarantine hit and social distancing, and we haven't been able to do it since. So I definitely plan to do it again once things get back to normal. But up to this point, no, we really haven't spent as much time together as we probably should, or I would like to, just because life does get in the way, and unless you make conscious efforts to see the people that are important to you, it can very easily like slip away. Where do you see or want to see your family in 10 years? Well, in 10 years, my oldest will be 26. My youngest will be 20, so they'll both be in college or, you know, doing something for their career and their adult life. I just hope that by that point, I have raised them both to be respectful people, to be people that love God and represent Him in their life every single day. I hope that they're happy and safe and healthy. And I hope that they find people that will be good to them and that will be a good relationship for them. And because as a mom and as a woman, I know it's very hard to find good people, good partners. And I really hope that both of them are going to be in healthy, happy relationships, and that they are happy and healthy in their life. As far as me and my husband, by that point, the girls will be out of my homeschool. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with my time or myself. I hope that I'll still have a YouTube channel. I mean, that seems like a long time from now, and I think, how can I think of 10 more years of content to make for you guys? But as my life is changing, I feel like I will have more to share with you guys, because that's when I share things. When things happen in my life and I learn something or I experience something, I share it with you guys. So I would really, at this point, say that I hope I'm still making videos. I hope my channel has grown significantly. And I know I'm gonna need my channel, and I'm gonna need you guys, especially as my girls do grow up and get more and more of their own lives. I'm gonna need you guys to be there for me because they have been such a huge part of my life for so long. You know, 24/7 homeschooling them and being a stay-at-home mom. When they have their own lives, I'm not really gonna know what to do with myself. So I'm gonna need you guys. So make sure you're subscribed and hang on to me and with me for the long haul. Okay, the next question is, you talk about how close you are with your parents. Do you take after one more than the other? I think I'm a nice mix of both. I think my mom's gentleness kind of counteracts or balances out my dad's strength. We'll call it strength. He has a very strong personality. I have all of those things from him, but on the other side of the spectrum, my mom is really quiet and timid and unassuming and gentle. So that part of her kind of balances out that part of him in me. And I'm a Gemini, which, not that I'm all like into astrological signs, but you know, Gemini is the twin constellation. So I am very much a twin in my brain. Like, part of me is all like timid and, you know, shy, and the other part of me is kind of loud, obnoxious, and bossy and controlling. And so it's really weird to be in my own head because I constantly have these two kind of, I don't want to say personalities because I'm not schizophrenic, but you know what I mean? Like these two opposite things going on in my brain, like conflicting emotions, conflicting personalities almost. Again, that sounds like I'm schizophrenic. I'm really not, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like very much sometimes there are two people, two very different personalities in my brain. Okay, the next question, without saying their names, how did you come up with your daughter's names? I have no clue. I used to keep a list of baby names. Every time I showed my husband a name, he didn't like it. He didn't like anything. He said everything I picked sounded like some kind of weird name or whatever. I like unique names, and when I finally thought of my oldest daughter's name, I think it was the same day my mom had thought of the same name, and we told each other the same day, and we were like, well, that's it. That's perfect. When I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, my younger daughter, I wanted their names to have the same first letter, so that kind of narrowed down our choices a little bit, but I also wanted it to be unique. So basically, again, everything I said to my husband, he hated, and I was like very, very far along. I think I was like 8 months pregnant, maybe even 9 months, and I said, okay, it's this or it's this. What do you think? And he picked one of those two, and that's the name we went with. When are you going to allow your oldest daughter to have a phone freely? If you don't know what the word freely is mentioned, it's because if you haven't seen my rules for kind of cell phones and technology video, I'll link it for you. I'm very, very strict about phones. Having one, using one, what's on there, social media and all that stuff. I don't know yet exactly when we're gonna let her have one freely. Probably when she can afford to pay for it on her own. And I don't see that happening for a very long time. So right now, that's what I'm gonna say. Something could change between now and then, I don't know. But that's kind of my thing right now, because as long as we're paying for it, I feel like, and as long as we're paying for it, then I definitely feel like it is up to me to set the rules of what she can and can't have on her phone and when she can and can't have it. And that's the plan for now. But again, it could change. But for now, I'm saying whenever she can pay for it on her own, then like not just the monthly plan, like the phone itself, like the phone, the insurance, and the monthly plan, then maybe we'll talk about, I guess she'll probably be able to have free use of it. Is your daughter driving yet? No, and she really hasn't even shown that much interest. I bought the permit, like driving study book thing. I gave it to her. I said, this is what you have to read to be able to take your permit, and I don't know that she's even opened it once. So if she's not showing interest in it, then I'm not gonna push it. She has no reason to drive if she doesn't want to, because she doesn't need to. So I'm not gonna bring it up until she does. Did you always want to have 2 children? I guess I probably always said I did at least 2, because I always said I wanted a boy and a girl. Now that was before I ever got married and had kids. I would not trade my 2 girls for the world. I actually did have a 3rd child, a boy. We miscarried him, so he's not here with us on earth, but I would have had 3 children and that would have been perfect. Like, I feel like whatever you have is always the best amount for you. If you only have 2, then 2 is great. If you only have 1, then 1 is great. If you have 6, then 6 is great. I do miss the fact of being able to have a baby, even though I don't really want another one, if that makes sense. So we're good. How do you, or how did you in the past when the kids were smaller, discipline? Well, I kind of mentioned that earlier. I had my oldest daughter, I was 23. I had never changed a diaper. I had never babysat. I was the youngest in all of the group of like the cousins and everybody. I was always the youngest in the family. So like, I was the baby. So I had no clue what I was doing. I had to learn everything like trial by fire. Immediately I had to learn changing diapers and feeding and crying babies. I had no clue what I was doing. And I feel like, and I mentioned that earlier about my temper. I mean, I was not violent with her, but I mean, I would snap and lose my temper with her as a toddler a lot more than I would now, because I just was overwhelmed and I didn't know what I was doing. And the fact that I didn't know what I was doing like freaked me out, and I would like overreact about dumb things that now if those things were to happen, I would not overreact about. So I feel like I'm just a lot more calm. I'm a lot more kind of realizing that things, most things, little things, work out on their own. Most of the things that I was stressing about before are not really necessary. My oldest is kind of like, she was my guinea pig kid. Like I had no clue what I was doing. With my youngest though, I feel like by the time she came along, I was a lot more settled and confident in my parenting, and I feel like that has really reflected in discipline. So now I don't overreact as much. I don't lose my temper hardly ever. You know, I just handle the situation. Usually taking things away is the most effective thing. And that's kind of how things have changed over the years. What is your testimony about coming to the Lord? Again, I will link that in, I did a video about that a couple years ago. I'll link it for you in the description box. Short story is, I was raised Christian, so I don't have a super amazing story about a life that was going down the wrong path and I, you know, turned it around and found God. I was always a Christian. I was raised in a Christian home. I was saved and baptized around 10 or 11 years old, and I've lived my life that way. Now, there were definitely times when I was falling away. Early 20s, I went through a really sketchy period of time where I was like, I still was a Christian, I still believed in God, but I wasn't acting the way I should act. And then again, after my miscarriage, I really got mad at God, and I didn't know how to handle those feelings. I didn't know where that was going to take me, but at the end of it all, it actually made me closer to Him. It just took me a long time to get to that point. What was it like being a Christ-driven wife before you had kids? Well, like I said, our oldest was born really soon after we got married, so I don't know. I don't even remember God being a part of our relationship at that point. Even now, we're still very separate Christians. Like, we're very private. He does his thing, I do my thing. But now we're part of a church, and we do make sure we keep the kids in church. But I really feel like it wasn't until we had our oldest daughter that I started realizing that God needed to be a lot more a part of our life as a family now. And that's kind of what changed, was having her and realizing, oh, hey, wait, it's not just us anymore. It's the 3 of us. Now it's the 4 of us. And I really have to make sure that we are doing our best to keep them in church, keep ourselves in church, and always try to be a good example for them. How was life with hubby at home? And she's probably asking this because in my, I think it was my 1-month quarantine check-in video, I talked about, I was at home with the girls, like social distancing for a few weeks before my husband was called like away from work to go home. And I was kind of worried because I was like, oh, we're not used to having him home. He works 5 days a week, but he never gets 2 days off in a row, and he works long hours. So like, it was mostly just me and the girls pretty much all the time. And when I thought about him coming home, it like freaked me out, because I was like, I have a schedule. I have a routine that we follow. I have a thing that we do. We've done it for years. It's pretty much worked out to a T. And I was like, he's going to be home and throwing off everything. But it's actually been okay. We only have had 1 argument since he's been home, which is nice. Surprising, but nice. We've done quite a few home projects, and I think that's the main reason why it's been working out, is because he's been staying busy. He doesn't really know what to do a lot of times around the house. That's what he says anyway. So I make him a list every day, and he'll go through and do most of the things on the list, and that keeps him busy, which kind of lets me be able to not only him doing things that helps a little bit with my responsibilities, but also it kind of keeps him busy so that he's not terribly affecting our schedule, like our routine of school and lunch and exercise and all that stuff. That sounds terrible, but I mean, I've got this worked out. As a homeschooling mom, you would know this, or as a stay-at-home mom, you kind of have a routine, and when somebody else kind of comes along and like it throws it off, it's very hard to change something that you've been doing for so long a certain way. But that's been really helpful. So it really hasn't changed a whole lot, thankfully. And we've gotten a lot of things done. Okay. The last section is miscellaneous. I'm losing my voice already, and this is only the first video I'm filming. That's a bad sign. Top 5 bucket list items you want to do either after quarantine or anytime. Okay, Disney World. Our trip got canceled. We were supposed to be in Disney, leaving for Disney World actually this coming weekend. Maybe not by the time you see this. We were supposed to be leaving, I think, May 2nd. It's our annual trip to Disney. We go every May. I look forward to it all year long. And so as soon as things are settled and I feel like it's safe to go, I am going to Disney World. I would also, at some point in my life, like to go to Europe. I would like to swim with the dolphins. We did a dolphin experience last year. We went to Disney. We went to SeaWorld for one day and paid for like a little dolphin thing where you get to go back and pet them, and it was really fun. We didn't get into water with them, but that was amazing. That was just a taste of what it must be like to be able to swim with the dolphins. And even though I'm afraid of water, I really, really, really want to do that. So at some point I would like to do that. Bucket list, I don't know if this counts, but I really want a silver play button with YouTube. It's 100,000 subscriber like award that you get. It's like a silver plaque. I want that. I want that silver play button. I talked about that in my video about why YouTube is so hard. I want that button. I've never was in sports. I've never won awards. I didn't get perfect attendance. Like, I have never earned any type of accolade. I want that silver play button so bad. I am 49,000 something subscribers away, so I don't know if it's ever going to happen. You guys can help me with that. If you are not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and share my videos with people that you think would enjoy them, and hopefully they'll subscribe, because I really want that button. I've worked really, really hard to even get to this point, and I would really love to have that. Just in general, travel. I really wish that we were not limited by funds and on my husband's like availability to be off work, because I really feel like I want to see more of the world. I want to see more of my own country, so I would love to go out west and see California and Yosemite and, you know, Grand Canyon, all those places that we're probably never going to get to go to. Pretty much anything like that is going to be on my bucket list. Next question is, what's the first place you'll be going for pleasure after quarantine? If you mean like something I can do in my everyday life, it's going to be Panera. I haven't gone there. I realize that they're open like in the drive-thru, but I haven't eaten out since this time that we've been home. I think March 14th was our first day at home, and I have not eaten out or stepped foot in a store in that amount of time. So I am making a beeline for Panera as soon as I can. What's your biggest dream? Well, I mean, I have several. If you mean like, of course, I want my family to be healthy and my girls to be happy and all that stuff, okay, fine. But if you mean like for me personally, I want a silver play button at least. I mean, obviously I would like to continue on after that, but that's kind of like my main thing, is I want to be able to make enough with YouTube that I don't need my husband's income at all. Like, I wish that I made enough on YouTube that I could pay all the bills, do all of our stuff, and then whatever money he makes would be able to be saved, spent for travel, for the girls' education, you know, things like that. I wish I could make enough to do that. I want my channel to be successful and continue to grow, because it is a labor of love. It is something I did for so long for free, and it really is a reflection of me. It is 100% me. There is not a single aspect of my channel that is done by anybody else. I plan it, I film them, I edit them, I make the thumbnails, I do all the communicating with brands, I do all the social media posts, I do every single thing. And even though that can be very tiring, it's also very rewarding and very fulfilling to have that. And so to see my channel continuing to grow and to see it be able to make more and more money to help support my family and our goals and travel. You know, maybe someday when the girls are older, I can afford to go, you know, to pay for a trip to Europe that I want to take with them, or go see the Grand Canyon or something like that. So that it enables me to be able to stay home with them and homeschool, be a stay-at-home mom, and then just do more things with them and have more experiences with them. That's my ultimate dream, for my channel to become that. Any extra tips for hanging on through the tough beginning days of YouTube? That you kind of have to remember why you're doing it. And it really needs to be because you love it, not because you want to make money. Because like I said, I didn't make money for 3 years, and I talked about this in that video I did about why YouTube is so hard. And if you want to watch that, you really should, because I think you'll get more insight in that video than I can share here. But it's not easy, and it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for somebody who's only in it to make money, because most of the time that's not going to happen for you. Or if it does, it's going to take a little while, or a long while in my case, like 3 years. So you really have to know why you're doing it, what you're getting out of it, why you're enjoying it, why you're not enjoying it, and really weigh that. Like, am I doing this because I want to be a YouTube star, or, you know, have my own makeup line, or I'll write a book? Or am I doing this because I love sharing, because I love showing people about my life, because I love helping other people? That's really why it all boils down to your why of YouTube. And if your why is not really the right one, then that's probably why it's going to be harder to hang on in the beginning. If you're only making videos that you think are going to be popular, or only making videos you think other people might want to see, or you're only making videos because you hope to make money one day, those reasons get old really quickly. And so that's not going to be something you're going to be able to sustain long term and be happy about it. I've got 2 more questions, you guys. If you are still here, you should get an award, because this video is so long. Have you always lived in your state? Yes, I've always lived in Kentucky. And would you ever want to move out of state like Florida? I think it's one of those things that you think sounds a lot more fun than it probably is. And because I know I won't do it, it makes it seem all the more glamorous. It's probably not. Yes, I have thought about living somewhere that is warm and doesn't have winter, because I hate being cold. So yes, I've thought about Florida and places like that, and just moving in general, because I've never known anywhere else. But I'm not going to move because my parents are here, and I don't want to be far away from my parents. That is everything. There were so many questions. Thank you guys so much that asked questions. I really appreciate it. I hope that I answered them thoroughly for you guys. Make sure you check out the links in the description box, because any of those other videos that I referenced are going to be linked there for you. I really enjoyed making this video for you guys. I try to do it ever so often, because I feel like I get caught up in making other videos that I forget that a lot of you guys have questions and you want to know things. And I really hope this video was helpful and entertaining for you. If you're still here and it's the end and you watched this all the way to the end, leave me something in the comments that said like, hey, I did it, or a thumbs up, or a smiley face, so that I know that you guys made it all the way to the end. Because if you did, you are diehard, loyal YouTube family members, and I really, really appreciate it. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.